Coaching grudges. Some clients hold grudges against other people, the world, things that happened to them in the past, etc. They feel like they've been treated unfairly or that they were hurt by something someone did or something that happened to them. And they continue to get upset when they think about it. A situation concerning a grudge that happened to me last week in my private life, not in my coaching practice, is something that I would like to describe to you today. A dance teacher had stolen all his students from his previous employer by inviting them to leave the school with him and join the new place that he was joining. The owner of the school was not amused, but quickly went back to finding new clients and rebuilding her client base. In the discussion of the event, one of the other dance instructors revealed that he was still suffering from his disappointment toward his ex-wife, who had really hurt him. And as he described, she had stolen his successful dancing school and had left him penniless. Years later, you could still feel how disappointed and how hurt he was. And he was emotionally very affected. So I really, really felt for him. And somehow I had the idea that it would be good for him to be able to let this settle and come to terms with the situation. Of course, I can't know that. I mean, it's not for me to create a goal for this person. And it just inspired me to think about what we as coaches might do in this kind of a situation. And I think even not just as coaches, as fellow human beings, this is a situation that often happens, that somebody is bearing a grudge or feels unfairly treated, and that we want to be good friends and fellow human beings. So here are some options that I've collected when thinking about a situation like this. Ask future-focused questions. The first temptation is probably to get into all of the gory details of what happened, who did what, and what was the exact unfairness and all the details of the problem. The client might even want us to listen to all of the gory details. Us listening to the gory details might signal to the client that we are really, really listening, that we are with them, that we are on their side, and that we are trying to understand their situation. And then there is this cultural idea that we have to get things off our chest by talking about them again and again and again and again. But that's really not what happens, I think. By talking about it again and again and again, and by keeping the roles the same, here's the poor victim, here are the poor perpetrators or the unfair universe, we are actually cementing the identity of the client as someone who holds a grudge, or we're cementing the grudge in the client. So yes, of course, we want to acknowledge the hurt and we want to acknowledge that the client is feeling hurt, but we don't want to go down the rabbit hole of describing again and again and again the horrible story of what happened. The client has probably told this story a million times to anybody who might listen. So by us listening again, we're probably not making a big difference. So what can we do instead? Here's where our future focused questions might make a difference. We could ask things like, I see that you're really hurt by this. So suppose you felt a little bit better about this. What difference would that make in your life? Or if this grudge was beginning to have less influence on you and your life, what difference would that make? How would you notice that it starts having less and less influence on your life? Invite for an externalization of the grudge. Grudges are great places for externalizations, For me, they're always these little green, spiky, horrible monsters. I don't know what it is for you. And of course, we have to ask the client maybe what shape the grudge has for them. But the idea here is to separate the grudge from our client. We can ask questions like, what are some of the things that the client would like to be doing that the grudge is keeping the client from doing? And then we could expand on the things that the client does want to be doing and slowly help the client realize what kind of relationship they want with the grudge. Is it they want it out of their lives? Do they want to befriend it? Do they want to tame it? And this way, the client gains some influence over the grudge and doesn't feel like it is a part of their identity. Use language carefully. It's really important to separate the grudge and the person who caused the grudge and the behavior of this person. It's really best to try to avoid labeling the person as the villain as much as we understand that the client feels like it is the villain, and as much as the client is inviting us to agree with them that, yes, indeed, this was the villain. One linguistic maneuver that you can use here is rather than saying, and your ex-wife, the stealing, blah, blah, you could say, okay, I really understand how this behavior of your ex-wife caused you trouble. I can really understand how you were hurt by the stealing. Or you can talk about the impact of the stealing rather than talking about the villain as a person. This makes the situation more changeable because it doesn't cement the idea of the bad and the good. So 3 things that we've talked about: future-focused questions, externalization, and using language carefully. Of course, there are many other ways of helping clients come to terms with bad events in their lives. There is a really good resource available on the website of my friend Ben Furman. It's www.benfurman.com. Link is in the description below. If you would like to have more videos like this, like, subscribe, and do all the things the YouTube algorithm likes. And also, if you want to talk to us, we run weekly free meetup and exchange sessions that you can book at www.solutionsacademy.com/registration. Also, the link is below. I hope you won't meet a lot of people bearing grudges in the next week, but if you do, here you've had some options, and I hope they've been helpful. Thank you very much and stay tuned. Bye-bye.